So we are now halfway through the board, and I'm going to be scrambling to finish this in time. I may have been a little overambitious by changing my challenge mode, but I'm also always up for a good challenge, so let's see how we can do. I did leave you guys off on a little bit of a cliffhanger last time. If you want to see the previous Readathon Rebellion vlog, I will leave it down in the description box so you guys can check it out. Definitely see what I've read, what prompts I got up to this point so far. But at the end of that video, we did a roll to see what my next prompt was going to be. A5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another info gathering prompt. You've camped for the night and everyone is looking to blow off a little steam. It's time to go around the fire and share some embarrassing stories. Read a book you wouldn't want someone next to you to see on the plane. Which I think honestly anything can count for. You should never be ashamed of your reads. But you know, sometimes you just don't want that person next to you to be like, you're reading smut, but also maybe they're enjoying the smut, who knows? So I ended up choosing for this one Warrior Princess Assassin. I don't know where the book is currently or I would show it to you guys, but this is by Bridget Kimmer. It's her new poly-romantasy and I'm very, very excited about it. I've read her young adult series and liked it, so I'm excited to see what she can do as an adult book. I'm assuming because it's adult and it's poly, it's going to be relatively spicy, so that's why I did choose it for this prompt, but I honestly cannot wait. My Patreon's been reading it. It is our buddy read for this month. Well, actually, it was our buddy read for last month and I'm just a slacker. I think that she has such an easy writing style and I really want that to translate well into the adult sphere. I also know that this is an arranged marriage trope, which I typically love. Literally cannot wait, so I better go get to reading. I've made some really good progress in Warrior Princess Assassin. I'm now 25% of the way into this and I'm enjoying it a lot so far. We start off with Princess Jory and she is undergoing a dress fitting and you find out that all of the fire in the entire kingdom had to be put out. So they're cold, they're shivering, they don't want to do this. She's setting up for a marriage that she clearly doesn't want to the neighboring kingdom's king. And the reason that all the fires are out is because he is able to control fire. There is this war looming and both kingdoms are really struggling with it. One has a great like war defense, but not really a lot of like true defenses, and their kingdom is starving because of their climate. And then you have the other kingdom that doesn't have as great war defenses, but everyone is generally thriving because their king is able to control the weather. So essentially they want Jory to marry this other king so that they can get his war defenses and his power and he can get their ability to control the weather so that his country can thrive. And I do like that. I think that's a very realistic pairing, a realistic way to create alliances. So far I do like Jory. I think that she's an interesting character. I like that there is the dynamic of it is essentially still her choice. She could clearly say no to this proposal, but her brother has a very strong hand and he is like basically talking down to her, telling her she doesn't know what she's talking about. He's not letting her be in on any of the proceedings. And so I like those two like warring things. She's very, very sheltered. So I'm curious to see, like, there's some spunk definitely behind her, but I'm curious to see how she grows. And I like the conversation of like war dynamics and duty and being sheltered and what your country could be going through. I think that all of that is really interesting. We very briefly met the prince as well, and his interactions with her were very domineering, but also you can tell that he has a kind heart. So I think I'm going to like him. We also have another love interest though. This is a poly-romantasy. There are 3, they are in a relationship together. And so our other one is her childhood best friend. And I am not a childhood best friend lover, honestly. I feel like we usually miss out on a lot of the buildup, on a lot of the backstory, and there's too much history that I miss to fully understand the romance. I'm hoping it won't bother me as much in this one because he does have a romance with her, but also with the other guy. So we'll at least be able to see his romance develop with the king. But he is an assassin and he was sent away when they were children and has been basically sold into slavery since then. But he comes back every once in a while to see Jory and to talk to her and, you know, just generally see how she's doing, and she lives for those moments. She definitely harbors a crush for him. He knows that she's completely off limits, and if he were ever found, he would be either executed or sold back into slavery. And their dynamic is interesting. I definitely want to know more about him and his backstory, but I'm not a friends to lovers kind of girl, and at the moment they haven't sold me on that, so we'll see if I start to feel more invested in it as we go along. But as of right now, I do like both of the love interest. I like where the plot is, so I'm intrigued. I'm not obsessed yet, but I am intrigued. So I have not picked up a book in 2 days. I did the 36-hour challenge for Overbooked and it burnt me out. I read so much in that vlog and I just did not touch a book for a couple of days, but I finally picked back up Warrior Princess Assassin, and I meant to update you guys at like the 60th percent mark, but honestly, I didn't have anything to say. So I have finished this and I'm giving it a 3-star. I think that the middle just really started to drag for me, and combine the middle dragging with me not wanting to pick up a book with, I think I'm in a little bit of a romantasy slump. I just really was struggling with the latter half of this. They started to do a lot of traveling, and I'm not a travel girly. I'm not really the 2 or 3 or however many main characters get together and start on a quest. And that is a lot of what happened in this. They left her kingdom to travel to his, and it was the progression of them traveling to that kingdom. And I just got really bogged down with that part of it. It was intended to give them more time to have moments together and to develop the relationship. So I get why it was done, but it just felt very slow and not as exciting to me. And so I lost me a little bit. Then we got a little bit more into like action and things happening, but then they decided that the romance was done. Everyone was together and the sex scenes came 4 chapters straight of smut. And it was not a short, like they weren't short chapters. I got really annoyed by that, honestly. It's not something that I like. I don't mind a slow burn, but I do not like it when the slow burn decides all of a sudden, okay, they're together, let's just have a bunch of sex. I need that spread throughout. I need to see that as a authentic part of the relationship, and I felt like that was not what happened in the latter part of this. So I did struggle with that a little. Now, would I have felt the same way if I wasn't already not completely obsessed? I don't know, maybe not. I do think that there were some sweet moments and things that were really good between the characters. I liked the poly aspect of it. I thought that that was really interesting. Asher never became one of my favorite characters. He's more of the subservient guy, which makes a lot of sense to his backstory. I do think she did a good job with his backstory and creating this history to him and making that character feel more authentic to me, but I prefer the other guy. And I don't know, she never really, I wasn't obsessed with her. She's a stronger character, but she's definitely more meek because of how sheltered she was as a princess. And I wanted her to stand up for herself just a little bit more. She definitely got there. Like, she definitely had her moments, especially in the beginning. I kept being like, okay, yeah, we're gonna see this. But the conversations that I was liking so much in the beginning kind of fell off as the romance started to go on. So I do think I'm going to keep this, even though I gave it a 3-star. First of all, it's stunning. And I might continue on in the series depending on if people that read book 1, knowing how I felt about it, would suggest that I try book 2. I'm curious enough about the relationship and about what was going on, and this felt like a setup book setting up the romance, and so I'm curious to see if, now that the romance is more established, what happens in the later books. So maybe not. I wanted to be as obsessed with this as everybody, though. I truly wanted to be completely head over heels in love with it, and I thought I was going to be, but I don't know if it was me or the book or the slump or what was going on. So we need to make some changes going into our next book. Let's do the roll. Let's see what we get. Last time we landed on the info gathering, so let's roll our die and see what I get for my next prompt. We are getting close to the end. I'm so excited. You've got to be kidding me. A 1? Okay, well, we're moving to Roadblock. One of the key members on the mission has fallen ill. You need them, but you know that the others cannot afford to get sick. Do you try to heal them quickly, or do you ask them to stay behind? So for the heal prompt, it is read a book with a light source on the front cover, and to ask them to stay behind, we read a book on my owned TBR. Okay, so I can either choose to heal or ask somebody to stay behind. I do think that I'm going to choose to heal because I just don't, looking at my shelves at the moment, there's nothing that's calling to me at the moment because, like I said, I do think I want to read something that isn't romantasy. I've been reading a lot of it lately and I am struggling a little bit. So I could read what just came in the mail. It was the Fairy Loot epic box, the Bone Raiders, I think. That cover is really cool if I can find it. Oh, it's sitting right there. Let me show it to you. Look at this cover. Look at how cool that little, like, I don't know, what is it, a lizard? Whatever this lizard is. So this is a possibility, but also there have been some books that I have been influenced to read recently, books that I do really want to pick up. One of them is First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. Lexi has really been wanting me to read that. The sequel just came out, so I am desperate to pick that up. The other option is Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I never thought that I would read this. I was not sure about it. It sounded very dude bro, it sounded very absurdist humor, and it just really did not seem like it was going to be for me. And then Cassidy was my guinea pig, and she decided to read it. And since then, she has told me to try it. So I trust her. So if she tells me to pick it up, I am going to be easily influenced. No one is surprised. I am very easily influenced when it comes to picking up books and wanting to like be in the know and be in on the hype and be in on the love. I don't own either Dungeon Crawler Carl, First Time Caller. So I think I just need to see which one has a light source on the cover since I don't own them. And then whichever one does, that's what we'll go with. So I looked it up and Dungeon Crawler Carl is the only one of those three with a light source on the cover. So that is what we're going to be going with. I'm really excited to read this, but also extremely nervous because it's so beloved and I want to love it too, but I also don't want to be the only one that doesn't enjoy it. Dungeon Crawler Carl. Okay. I have started this book and it is exactly what I was expecting and nothing like I was expecting all at the same time. It's very, very quirky. It requires a lot of suspension of disbelief, but I'm having fun. We start right off the bat. Like, there is no warming up. There is no easing you in. It just kicks off with this guy that has gone outside to save his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut, when she climbs a tree. He's in his boxers. He has on pink Crocs. He turns around and the building collapses behind him. Then all of a sudden there is this voice in the sky that starts telling people that they have this opportunity to enter the dungeons, and if they choose not to enter the dungeons, then they're on their own and you have to descend all of these levels, and it is complete and utter chaos. So basically this alien race essentially has decided to take over the world, and in order to get your world back, somebody has to go down all of these different levels to get to the end to become the ruler of the new Earth. If you choose to do that, you are going to basically be playing a video game to get through it. If you choose not to do that, you're going to have to survive on the land with none of the resources that you would need to actually survive. So it's basically a death sentence. He and the cat accidentally go through one of these gates and end up as Crawler Carl and Crawler Princess Donut. It is a little bit like absurd, but also, like I said, it's just so much fun. I love the way that the author is doing all of these different things that make it feel like a video game. You have health bars over people, you have achievements that you can get, you have an inventory that you can open, and it's just, it feels very much so like a video game. I have not actually read Ready Player One, but it gives me those vibes. I watched the movie. So I think if you love a video game, this is a lot of fun. I am looking forward to learning more about the corrupt system. I know that this has a lot of like heavy political take down the man kind of vibes to it, and I'm really looking forward to those conversations. Right now it's just a lot of fun setup. We're learning the world, we're learning what he can do in the dungeon, we're learning what exactly Princess Donut is going to be doing in this dungeon, meeting different people. It's basically we're going through the tutorial with him at the moment. That's where I'm at right now, which is around I think 15-20%. I'm excited to read more of it today. I'm having a way better time than I expected to, honestly. I really wasn't sure about it, but I may be on the hype train. I've made it over the Dungeon Crawler Carl halfway point. That title is very hard for me to say, like most titles, honestly, but I am actually really enjoying this. I do find it to be a little bit repetitive at times. We are doing the same things over and over and over again. They are traveling down a level and meeting something that gives them more information, getting boxes, traveling down, beating a boss, repeat, repeat, repeat. But I do think that that is a very intentional way of writing the story because it feels like a video game. A lot of what you're doing in video games is repetition, and you're just getting better and leveling up at things as you go because you have to learn how to do it first and then you get better at it as you go. So sometimes I feel like I am zoning out a little bit because I am like, okay, I've read this, but at the same time, I appreciate what it's doing. I also think that we've had some good discussions on society and how people perceive people of lower classes and how people on the outside perceive different areas and cultures that are different from them, because we have this alien televised show and these caricatures of bosses of humans, and I think that that conversation is really interesting. I was talking to Cassidy about it and said that I do feel like it gives me a little bit of Hunger Games vibes in that way, where you are being televised for people's entertainment, dealing with all of this horrible crap so that people can be entertained trained and like they're given levels up, the more popular they are. I think that's where Donut really comes into play. She's very sassy, she is very sarcastic, but she also is just like, I am a princess and you're gonna treat me as such. And I think her character is just a lot of fun. They're all just very like blown up part of their personalities, and if you don't like that, this is going to get on your nerves, but I think that it's just a fun, different way of doing things, and the way that he is writing it, I am very impressed by. So at the moment, it's giving me 4-star feels, and I'm hoping that it continues to stay there as we go on. We have gotten through 2 boss battles at this point, and then we had a period where they like got on the show for a brief period of time, and I liked the character that was introduced there, although the description of her and the description of a lot of these like bosses and aliens, I'm like, wait, what? What am I reading? And there are moments where this is definitely written by a dude, but also moments where I'm like, how in the world did you even come up with this? Very impressed. So I'm going to continue reading. I do think we're going to play Phasmo for a little bit before I finish out for the night. I would like to finish this tonight because your girl's behind. I've been taking a break from reading in general recently. I've been playing a lot of games. I've been going out with family and just trying to enjoy life a little bit. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job with that, but now I feel behind. So I need to catch back up again. There is a price to pay for taking time off. So I'm going to finish this up. I have convinced Monica to read it with me, and then we might be reading the Gray Fryer, which I think I showed you guys on my October TBR a little bit early, so I don't know what I'm reading next, honestly. Okay, so I'm here to update you on Dungeon Crawler Carl. I actually really enjoyed this. I'm gonna give it a 4-star. In the end, I do think the repetitiveness got to me just a little bit to where I was not invested enough to give it a 5-star, but also I feel like the repetitiveness is very intentional. It's supposed to be formulaic, but at times I did find myself zoning out because I was like, okay, I've heard this, but I loved the concept. I loved just how ridiculous it was, while also still having these undertones of we're about to get deep, but you're gonna have to get there, and I'm excited to watch the journey to continue to get there. I still don't understand how this guy comes up with as many things in his head as he does, because like, what the heck do you mean that you made this thing up? I don't understand. I want to know more about these shows, and I'm excited to see more of a character that came in at the very end. Like, Princess Donut is awesome, don't get me wrong, I know everyone is a Princess Donut fan, but there's a character that comes in at the end that I think I'm gonna love even more than Princess Donut, and love their relationship together. Like, protect Mongo at all costs. So now it is time to do our next roll.
Okay, so since the last roll did not go great, here's to hoping that we get a little bit more progress with this roll.
1, 2, 3. Info gathering. It is important to find out everything you can about the prison. You're sent ahead to gather information and see how many guards and weapons they have. Read a book ending in an even page number. So we got a book ending in an even page number, and this one was a little bit of a challenge because I was trying to find something that I wanted to read, but I don't know what I want to read. Monica and I had talked about buddy reading a book, the Gray Fryer, which has been highly recommended by Tori. It was actually on my October TBR, but she was like, well, what if we read it early? And on Goodreads, it says that this is 303 pages. But when you download it, it says that it ends on page 304. So we're going with what the actual book is, and it ends in an even page number, so I think I'm going to pick this up and potentially read it with Monica. She's also going to be starting Dungeon Crawler Carl, so I'm not sure if she's going to get to it or not, but I'm excited. Tori said that it is a pretty quick read. She said that it reminds her of Empire of the Vampire, which I like that series. It does move a little bit slow for me at times, but I do like Jay Kristoff's like cheeky humor, and I think that he creates a really cool world. So I'm curious to see how this one stacks up to that. And it's narrated by James Marsters, which we love. We love Spike's voice, so I'm very excited for that. But really quickly, lastly, I swear I'm going to shut up soon. I have this PR package I wanted to unbox for you guys that was sent to me by the author J.L. Giacola. I think I'm saying their name right. And I'm really excited to see what all is in here. It is a romantasy book, and we all know that I love a good romantasy book. So this is what it looks like on the inside. Defying the Fates comes with a cost. We have a couple of little goodies in here. The first is a keychain that says reading is my happy place. If it won't focus. There we go. This is super cute. I love the little flower detail charm. That is adorable. And then we also have a candle. This is in the scent Rose. This would be like a great bath time candle. Smells good. It smells very clean. And let's see if we can get through. Oh, we've got something else in. Oh, we've got several little goodies in here. Oh, Wilder, don't eat that. Don't eat that. A hand cream in the same scent, Rose. We'll get some good out of that for sure. Oh, we have a bookmark. This is so cute. Wait, come out. Come out. I'm sensing a theme. This is the bookmark. Like, look at how cute that is. And it has a little tassel on it. Adorable. We'll definitely get some good out of that as well. I think that's all the goodies. Nope, I lied. We have a packet here that says, "Welcome to the world of the Unbound Prophecy," and it is signed. I think it's a character cards. Let's open this up real quick. So she gave me a couple of different stickers. We have "Morally Gray is the color I judge all others by." I love that. "Bring on the tropes." Also super cute little book stack. And then again, we have the flowers theme as well. Another bookmark with the book title on it. And then I was correct. We have some character art here. This was just the thank you card, which is so cute, but I do really like this character art. Let me see if I can show you a little bit better. Like, and she's stunning. Those are really, really pretty. Okay, so now for the book. It is called Ascension, and this is like prime floppy paperback. I'm literally so excited for that. "The fates will bind them. Her decision will curse them. We have a prophecy that has defined her life for as long as she can remember. It states she will marry the enemy, the Dark Prince Sino, and bring peace to the realms that have been at war since the dawn of time. Longing for some control over her life, she turns her back on her destiny, risking the wrath of the fates. But as her relationship with him develops, she discovers that too late, her need for free will is no match for the power that binds her heart to his. As he spirals under the influence of the dark magic and the sinister workings of his half-brother, and this drives them farther apart, she must fight to undo the damage her decision has caused. But finding her way back to the prophecy's path will prove a difficult task the further it strays from the fates' intents." So we have fated mates, a little bit of an arranged marriage, which I really, really like. It sounds good, and I'm excited to have it. So thank you so much, JL Jackola, for sending this to me. Okay, so I actually have two updates for you guys. The first one is on the Gray Fryer, the Vampire Empire. This was recommended to me by Tori. She was raving about it, and honestly, it sounded incredible, perfect for the spooky season. And we're set in a world where the vampires took over. It was in like 1850 when they rose up and completely took over the world. They have like really heightened senses except for touch, and that basically makes them very hard to kill. So now we're shifted forward 150 years where we have a princess that is going to make a treaty with a neighboring kingdom in order to try to get back up to finally wipe out the vampires for good. And that's where we start off. I 100% see the comparison between the Empire of the Vampire and the Gray Fryer. I think that the Gray Fryer character reminds me a lot of the main character in the J. Kristoff series, and just like the tone of the story and even a little bit of the setting, although it's not as much so French, but just that overall tone, slightly historical setting really, really reminds me of it. The way that it's told, the storytelling, the whole concept, they're not like one for one, but if you love Empire of the Vampire, I can see you really enjoying this book as well. With that being said, me liking Empire of the Vampire led to very similar feelings of this one, of feeling like it was probably going to be a 3-star for me. The beginning started off relatively strong. I was loving the narration of it, and I was enjoying the action. I was always struggling a little bit with the writing style. It felt very detached to me, like I was being told a story rather than experiencing the story with the characters. But I was willing to like push past that because the action was working for me, and I was hoping that I would become more invested in the characters and that feeling would go away a little bit as I went on. And I got to about 35% and decided that this was just not the book for me, at least not right now. I am not really slumpy, but I'm definitely having a harder time concentrating lately. And so I need a book that's going to grip me. I need a book that is going to hook me, that is going to be very fast paced and not take too long to get to where it's going, to like rev up. And I thought that this was going to do that with the action in the beginning, and then it slows down significantly and gets a lot more political. And unfortunately at that point I just decided it was likely going to be a 3-star from me, and I was not invested enough to continue. I wasn't actively listening despite loving the audiobook, and I just didn't want to go on. So I did decide to DNF that one. Because I decided to DNF that one, that meant that I needed another book, so I did a roll while I was at work. We only went forward a little bit. We didn't really go forward as much as I would want. It gave me a member of your team is feeling rather homesick on the long journey. You find that he has a wife at home and hoping to get her back before the birth of their first child. You decide to find him a baby gift to carry once the mission is over. read a comfort book or genre. So for this one, I decided to go with a comfort genre, and for me, that is old school paranormal romance. I read so much of it a few years ago, I guess back like 10 or 15 years ago when that was a lot more popular. I loved it. It was so much fun and just such easy reads. So I decided to pick up White Hot by Alana Andrews. This is the second book in the Burn For Me series. I forget exactly what the series name is called, but it follows Nevada, who is a private investigator, and we follow her on this mission to solve it's not really a murder, well I guess there are murders, but basically solve this crime, and she's going to need the help of Mad Rogan in order to do it. And in this world, people basically have like superpowers. There's a gene that can give you an ability, and there are certain people that are a lot stronger than others. She has a hidden ability, all the things. Book one was okay for me. I actually marked the series as DNF and didn't realize that until I went to read this book, but I struggled a lot with the audiobook, and while reading it physically was fine, I just never got as invested in the romance as I wanted to. And then while I liked Nevada, with the romance not quite doing what I wanted it to and the plot just not really captivating me, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to continue. And then Arcane decided to bring out these absolutely stunning special editions, and I was like, okay, I'll try book two. If I love book two, then I'll read book three. If I love book three, then we can justify getting the set, even though book one was a 3-star. And unfortunately, this one is going to be another DNF. I just don't care. As much as I want to, I just don't. Their romance is not hooking me. Cassidy and I did buddy read this one, and she mentioned the like Monster of the Week type vibes, and while that's not bothering me as much because I think I expect it out of this like old school paranormal romance, their romance is really not working for me. I was okay until we got to a point, there was like a conversation being had about dates, and I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything, but it just kind of gave me the ick a little bit that way the conversation was done, and I didn't love it. And so I decided that at that point I was just going to DNF it. I think Cassidy also wasn't having a good time, and hopefully I'm not spoiling anything for her by saying that she also DNF'd it. So we had similar feelings on it overall. So it's safe to say I will not be getting the special editions. But that means that we need to do another roll, and hopefully we'll get to the third objective prompt because I need to get done. The end of September is approaching. We have got to get this board finished so we can save the Silent Spectre.
Okay, since we DNF'd White Hot, that means that it is time for another roll.
I really need at least like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like over a 4 or above. I need a 4 or above because we are running out of time. Oh my God.
I swear, I did not rig that. Are you serious?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Objective 3, that is perfect.
So we're on objective 3, which is to read a book with an action word in the title. And I will be honest, I was struggling a little bit, and I texted the group chat and I was like, what is a book with an action word in the title that I have forgotten about that I said I wanted to read? Because honestly, I'm having a really hard time picking what I want to read in general. And Cassidy was like, well, just read the second Dungeon Crawler Carl book. And I was like, well, what's the title of it? But it doesn't matter because the series title is Crawler, and in the like book title on the Kindle books it says Dungeon Crawler Carl and then the Doomsday Scenario. So it's like it's a part of the actual title, and crawl, definitely an action word. So we're going with it, and I'm going to be reading Dungeon Crawler Carl too. I've actually already started this and I am 25% of the way into it. I'm not a person that usually binges series, so it surprises me that I wanted to pick up the next book in the series so fast, but they're just so fun and bingeable, and that's what I really need right now after having a hard time with the Gray Fryer for it being too slow. I just wanted something really, really fast paced, and I think I might be liking it a little bit better than book 1. It definitely still has the same vibes. At like 30%, we are still on the mission to travel down the dungeon. We're still battling bosses. We've got Donut and Carl against the world. But I think that we're slowly starting to see more hints of deeper like themes of the book, and I think we're gonna get some different like quests and stuff like that, some new characters introduced. I'm excited. I'm loving the relationship between Donut and Mongo. That's not really a spoiler. I'm not gonna tell you who he is or what the character is, but I think their relationship is just really cute and so much fun, and I'm really excited to see that like continue to flourish and thrive. And yeah, I'm having a really good time. So I'm gonna read some more, and I will probably be back very shortly with an update at halfway because this book is so fast. It's actually shorter than book 1, so it's reading extra fast. When I tell you, I would be back quickly. I'm halfway into the doomsday scenario, and I'm still having a great time with it. I think that for me, it is breaking up a little bit of the repetitiveness with the quest and stuff that we have going on, and I am really enjoying that like side gig side of it because it feels just ever so slightly different than the typical boss battles. They're still having those, but we're having more of like the show and more characters being introduced, so it doesn't feel like it's just Donut and Carl against the world. Like, we still definitely have that, but I'm liking the relationships between them and Mordecai. We're seeing that a lot more in this book, and I think that for me, having those more development of the characters and the relationships along with the fun and like adding these new scenarios is definitely working. I said this with book 1 and I stand by it. How the heck does this guy come up with some of this stuff? I got to the first like technical boss battle, if you read it, with the bear. I'm not gonna say any more than that because I don't want to spoil anybody, but like, what just happened? There was like a mage and the different like conversations behind the mage and what she was doing, and I don't know, it's been really, really good, and I'm having a great time with it so far. I'll come back and update you when I'm done, which I don't think will take me very long. We do have Stranger Things tonight, and we are watching the finale episode. It is my favorite episode of the show so far, and I cannot wait for their reactions to some of the stuff that's going to happen in here. The problem is, I really want to finish Dungeon Crawler Carl, and this episode is 2.5 hours long. It is a monster of an episode. It's gonna be great. I absolutely cannot wait, but it's a long one. I'm hoping I will finish Dungeon Crawler Carl tonight, hopefully after, but then I also might play Forewarned because I'm still in my gaming area. I have too many hobbies. I need less hobbies. At least I can crochet while I watch TV. So there's that, right?
So this is my first time filming a car clip on my new phone. I don't think I told you guys that I had the hardest time getting a new phone. I had a phone that was about 3 years old, like a 14, 13, maybe a 13, I can't remember. And it just stopped holding a battery. So I decided that I needed to get a new one. And I was like, well, I can get the 16s or I'll just wait. The 17s will be out in a week. No big deal. I'll just grab it. Oh my gosh, I forgot how bad iPhone releases were. Like, I didn't care that much about getting a 17. I just needed a new phone, but by the time the 17s came out, you couldn't get the 16s anymore, and we needed to like trade ours in so that we got money back because this was basically free, and it was a mess. So I was actually at the Apple store for like 4 hours the other day trying to get a phone, get all of my crap transferred. Anyway, I have it. I really, really like it, so I'm glad that I got it. It has a couple of new features. Just in general, it is faster. It holds a charge a whole lot longer, so I do really like the phone, but like, that was an ordeal. So Dungeon Crawler Carl 2. I have finished it. I finished it on my way to work this morning, and I really, really, really liked it. I think I'm going to give it a 4-star. There were a couple of moments where it did slow down a little bit in the pacing. Didn't necessarily drag, but we were definitely learning new things, and so it was a little bit slower. I do think the repetition part was better in this one, so if that bothered you in book 1, maybe give this a try just to see how you feel about it, because I do think that it was less repetitive. In some ways that was good, and in some ways that was bad, so I do have mixed feelings on it, but overall I think that this book is really, really strong, and I'm excited to continue. I really want to read more. I think Carl and Donut and Mordecai and the whole gang is just awesome. I do like that we are starting to see a little bit more of bringing down the man. That's really fun. So I had a great time with it. Other than that, I am needing to head into work. I'm running late. We will do another roll when I get home for our last and final book. I'm hoping that we get Objective 4 so that we can read a fast-paced book. I have an idea of what I want to read, but let's make sure we get that prop before I tell you about it.
Okay, so now it is time for what is hopefully, fingers crossed, our last roll. If I get a 3 or higher, we will be ending with Objective 4. So keep your fingers crossed for me that I get something higher than a 3 so that we can save the Silent Spectre. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We are finishing. So for our last prompt, you have arrived at the prison and made it inside. After a few roadblocks and challenges, the Silent Spectre is free from the cell, but can you make it out of the mountain? Read a fast-paced book.
I cannot believe that we are coming to the end of the readathon. I literally thought that this day would never come, much less would come to an end. So I am finally on my last prompt to save the Silent Spectre. This is, as far as I'm aware, planning to come back next year with a new chapter and some new challenges. So I hope you guys will stick around for that. But I decided for this very last prompt that I was going to read Hot for Slayer by Ali Hazelwood. This is one of the Audible Amazon original things that they do that are like, they're really short. They get a couple of different authors to write an original short story and then make a collection out of them. I've never read anything by Ali Hazelwood before, so I was like, okay, let me give this a try. It's only 3 hours long, so it's definitely going to be a fast read. It seemed like it would be a fast-paced read. I believe this is following a vampire who has this rivalry with a vampire slayer. Like, his bloodline is due to destroy her and her bloodline, but she kind of thinks he's hot too. It sounds perfect for like spooky season, Halloween season. I've heard really good things about it. I'm gonna go listen to it. It should take me about an hour. Then I will be back and let you know what I think. So I have finished Hot for Slayer, and I really am, people are gonna come for me and I hate to say it, but I did not enjoy this. I think for me, it was just too cutesy slice of life, and I'm not overly surprised by that because of how short it was. And again, I'm not a huge short story person for this reason. Sometimes they work incredibly well, and I was hoping this would be one of those times because I wanted something quick and fast and easy to read, but I think it was just too contemporary for me. I need to do a little bit of research and see how I feel, but I think if it's gonna have fantasy elements and be like paranormal fantasy, I want it to be a little bit darker, less contemporary, but I can love a cutesy and really like nice romantic contemporary, but I don't think I want the two of those things together. I need to look into that and see if that holds true. But some of the other ones that I'm thinking of, oh, what was that series? If I can think of it, I'll pop it up on the screen, but I've read a couple of witchy ones, and they've never really worked for me, and I'm wondering if there's a pattern here. I told you guys this one was following a vampire, and she does not really want to be a vampire. She just kind of does her thing, stays out of everybody else's way, and she's not the best vampire. I struggled with the main character some. There was just something about her that I never really connected to, and that straight off the bat I was already struggling with. And then we have the vampire slayer, and he is like your typical Romanian vampire slayer, but there's no personality to him at all. He's just kind of there. And so I was really having a hard time with the romance because she had a decent amount of personality and then he had nothing. So they had no chemistry together. And then there was like the amnesia side of things for a second, and it felt too slice of life. And I just never really like gripped onto it, and from the beginning I was like, I don't think this is going to be the book for me. I did continue it because it was so short, but had this been a full-length novel, I would have known very quickly that this was not the book for me. However, I will try more Ali Hazelwood in the future. This is the only thing that I've ever read from her. I've got a couple of things, but I've not read anything else, and I will, because I think that a lot of this was on the like paranormal contemporary side of things, and I would be curious because I liked her writing style overall. So let me know if there is one in particular you think that I should read. It makes me very, very hesitant to try Mate, if I'm being honest, but maybe one day. I'm not in any huge hurry. It's not at the most like top of my list, but I will give her books another try in the future. So that is a wrap on all things Readathon Rebellion Chapter 1. Let me know if you participated, if you're still doing it, what mode you chose, all of those things. Have you completed it? Is the Silent Spectre free? Down in the comments below. If you just want to let me know that you were here and hanging out, leave me a strong arm emoji for finishing the board. As always, thank you guys so very much for hanging out, and I will see you in the next one.